Kids in 2014 are under pressure, arguably more so than ever before. In tonight's Focus Report, we look at the increasingly intense world of youth sports, where early specialization and extreme commitment are becoming routine. WGBH News reporter Adam Riley has more.
Are you ready? Finish strong.
Jack Woods has been playing basketball since he was a little kid. But 3 years ago, he got serious, joining a highly competitive travel program led by Coach Eric Polly. Now, Woods is a player to be reckoned with.
You want someone to score? He can score. He can shoot. He can attack the basket. He is the definition of a scorer.
Woods practices with his Mass Elite team at least once a week and spends his Saturdays playing in tournaments around the state. The 14-year-old says it's been worth it.
It's improved my game a lot. My shooting improved tremendously because of one of my coaches that helped me with my shot and stuff. So I went from probably one of the worst shooters to one of the best.
For Woods, early dedication to one sport seems to be working out. But some skeptics say that for society at large, it's a troubling trend.
When I first started doing this in 1992 in basketball, it was fairly rare around here to see a sixth grade travel basketball team. Now a lot of these communities have fourth grade.
Bob Bigelow grew up in Winchester and played basketball at the University of Pennsylvania and in the NBA. He argues that too many kids are pushed to take sports too seriously at too young an age.
So why do we organize teams? Why do we have adults coaching kids when they're 7? The pure, simple fact of the matter is something I've been saying for 25 years. Your athletic ability prior to puberty is a meaningless indicator of your athletic ability post-puberty.
There's also a physical argument against going too hard too young. According to the American Medical Society for Sports Medicine, excessive early training and competition can cause overuse injury and burnout. But Bigelow believes there's a deeper problem.
Adults want to win, kids want to play. That's the difference. The more adults you add to these sports, the more adult vision, the more adult needs have to be met.
Still, despite warnings from Bigelow and other critics, the professionalization of youth sports marches on.
30 to 40 million kids across this country play competitive sports, and they're passionate about it. They love playing sports.
Jordan Flegel is the founder of Coach Up, a Boston company that connects aspiring athletes with private coaches. Flegel got private coaching for basketball after his freshman year in high school and calls it life-changing.
Couldn't shoot at all, we couldn't really dribble. I got a private coach that summer, and my sophomore year, I was the starting center on the varsity team. Ended up going to a tiny Division III college. Was team MVP and captain as a senior, led the team the best year in school history, and earned an opportunity to play professionally.
It's tempting to see Coach Up as part of the youth sports arms race, but Flegel has a different take.
We believe that, anyone who has a dream should be supported, and that some people bloom later, it takes longer times, and if you're really passionate about something, you should be able to pursue it.
Which is exactly what Jack Woods is doing with basketball. Ask him about his goals, and his answer is modest.
I hope to take it to the highest level that I can, hopefully go to college and play for good colleges and stuff like that. And
are you thinking small college, major college, something in between?
Something in between. I don't really need anything major. I just want to be good in basketball.
To be clear, Jack Woods has not dedicated himself exclusively to basketball. He still plays lacrosse. I should also mention that it sounds like his basketball skills may get him a scholarship to a private high school that his family would not otherwise be able to send him to.
Now, did he feel parental pressure too, or was it all within him?
Based on what I saw, and I spent a while talking both with him and his mother, I didn't sense any parental pressure at all. I have seen those overbearing parents firsthand. There may have been moments that I'm not proud of where I've been one of those overbearing parents. I didn't see that dynamic with Jack and his mom. I felt like she was following his lead and helping him do something he loves.
Adam Riley, thanks for that report. All right, so what are the costs of pushing kids to specialize in sports at such a young age? Dr. Lyle McKelly directs the Division of Sports Medicine at Boston Children's Hospital, and Dan Leibowitz directs the Center for Sport and Society at Northeastern University. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
So, there must be some debate about whether focusing on one sport as a child versus doing everything is more risky, that you're more prone to injury if you're doing just one sport all the time, or less? What's the truth of the matter?
There's some evidence coming in now. There have been several studies that published recently, quite recently, to show that if you focus on one sport, particularly if you do it more than 16 hours a week, you have increased risk of overuse injury and training-related injuries.
So repetitive muscle injuries
Right.
and those kinds of things. And to the point, Dan, that Adam was just raising about the parental involvement, is this really new, for heaven's sakes? I mean, I can remember when my kid was in soccer, 25 years ago. It seemed the same. Is it worse, or is there more parental involvement with pushing kids, because that's kind of the almost the professionalization of childhood? We see it on everything, SATs, everything.
I would say that you see a social evolution around academics, around sports, around a variety of these things. I do think it's been escalated. I think that the signing of a 7-year-old by Real Madrid a few years back to $1 million contract, I think that Street and Smith being able to tell you who the best third grader in the country is in terms of basketball starts amping up the game. And I think that parents, they're new at parenthood, or they're in the throes of something they don't have a blueprint for, and they make many mistakes, and probably amped up by what's going on around the social fabric.
I'm wondering, though, Dr. McKelly, if maybe the criticism of all this pressure isn't an overreaction, because there are a lot of upsides to team sports, the socialization, meeting people outside your neighborhood. I mean, this kid Jack seems to have his head screwed on straight. He knows he's not going to be a professional basketball player, but if he doesn't play in high school and college, he's never going to play again. So why not, enjoy it and have fun when you're a kid?
I think the key thing is to make sure the kid really is into it also, that they are enjoying the experience. It's not just for the family. It's not just to meet the family's goals. And often it can be a very, very positive thing. I mean, we, of course, see the kid when they come in injured, and we sometimes see them with psychological issues because of the injury. They've identified themselves as an athlete, and now they're no longer an athlete. But I think that, all in all, I think that there can be a good balance that can be worked out on an individual basis by the family and the kids.
I think one of the dangers in all this, and I'm sure you've seen it all, Dan, is the coaches themselves. The degree to which they push a kid. They see somebody with some raw talent, and they start pushing them, but maybe the kid doesn't want to do it. I mean, how do you handle situations?
Well, again, I think it's an evolution. I think that we need more coaches training. I was one of those coaches and a parent like that earlier in my life. And so, I don't want to sit
You were
here.
like what?
A coach that saw talent and pushed kids hard and did those things. I think that, I've had sort of a evolution in my own self, or introspection about that. I think that what we need to do at this point is start thinking about, what does coaches training look like? What does positive coaching look like? And how do we create curriculum around it so that we can change the coaching culture around these very issues that we talk about, that lead to the injuries, that lead to that kind of trauma for kids.
A lot of kids used to be left out of the whole sports scene. I don't know enough about it to know whether that's true or not. But there certainly are more sports. There's more regulation, Title IX, all that. There's more equity, even in schools, about how they distribute things for lacrosse versus football, softball, all those things. I mean, I'm sure it's brought more people into your business, but. Is that a good thing?
No, I think that, again, properly structured, the quality of the adult supervision is the key thing, and how much insight they have into the whole process. The coaches are the key in this age group. The coach is key as far as how the kid develops in the sport, how much they enjoy the sport, what feedback the parents get. I think that they're particularly important here. A coach at the NFL level, different story. But I think in these kids, these coaches are really important.
The same kids, though, that are getting the special attention in sports, are they also the ones that are learning Mandarin and doing extra SAT studies? I mean, do you see it sort of like a pattern with the same kids?
I think that, it may not always be the same kids. I think that what's unique or common, actually not unique, but common in those different areas, whether it's academics, whether it's Mandarin, whether it's football, is that there's an excellence pattern, and we're as coaches, as teachers, we're trying to figure out, how do you reach excellence without damaging the kid?
And
right?
do you see that, Dr. McKelly, at this stage? You see a kid who could be 12 or 14 and they're already burned out on whatever their sport is?
We do. We see this particularly in individual sports, and it's often a combination of the kid being pushed, but it's also sometimes maybe not the best coaching practices, but sometimes the kid is just tired of doing that sport, and particularly if they're doing it 16 or 18 hours a day, and the only friends they have are in that sport. Yep. So again, some of these kids really need a variety of sports activities until they're maybe 14 or 15. Yeah. Then let them choose what they want to do.
Exactly. All right, Dan Leibovitz, always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
McKelly, thanks so much.
Thank you.